Hi, I'm the hat guy, John. Today I want to talk about people. People are crazy. Clearly, we're all crazy. The question is, how crazy are we, and to what degree does that crazy affect our lives? But mainly I want to talk about how self-centered people have become. And people are losing the ability to function in polite society as defined by my parents and grandparents. Back in the 50s, people would greet each other with a smile and how do you do? And when they answered the telephone, they would say hello. And if it was a business, they would state what the business was. Today, I frequently call businesses that will answer the phone with simply hello. I spoke with someone the other day that happened to be a doctor's office in South Florida. And the lady sounded like she was holding the phone out here and whispering at it, hello? Like she'd never seen one before and had no idea what it was. I was a little bit stunned, so I naturally said, is this the doctor's office? Yes. Just yes, that's it? No, yes, this is Dr. So-and-so's office, just yes. That throws the whole conversation off. I have had to call places in the past as part of my day job that have answered the phone in Chinese. This was also a doctor's office, happened to be in New York. Answered the phone in Chinese. That's in this country. I would expect a doctor's office in China to answer the phone in Chinese. They're in China. This is the U.S. Now, she very quickly, there was a moment of silence, clearly. And finally, I asked the same question. Is this the doctor's office? And then she quickly switched to English. And she was very nice and they were extremely helpful. But they answered the phone in Chinese. I found that a little bit odd. I had someone answer a phone in Creole once at a business in South Florida. And I had someone answer the phone in Russian once in Southern California. I know, granted, the United States does not have an official language, but you can ask anybody on this planet what language do they speak in America, and the overwhelming answer is going to be English. Now, granted, you can get by speaking just Spanish in some of the border states, Texas, South Florida, California, those kind of places, but for the most part, the rest of the country, if you don't speak English, you're probably going to have issues. But the whole thing with telephone etiquette, if you're in a business and you're running a business, and if let's go with the doctor's office. If you're a doctor, if my name is Dr. Greer and I answer the phone with hello, well, that doesn't sound very professional. I would want to answer the phone myself, or if my receptionist answers the phone, I would expect them to say Dr. Greer's office, or whatever the name of my practice is, or Big John's Towing, whatever your business is. Name it, call it that when you answer the phone, so that you know you've dialed the right number. And it ought to be very simple and common sense. But I think we've lost something as a society, or we're in the process, rather, of losing something as a society. And that's this self-centeredness that people have, especially our younger people. And I'm not trying to point you guys out, but if you're under the age of 35, you've really got a challenge ahead of you, because you've been brought up to think that nobody is more important than you. And yeah, you all have a pretty good self-importance about yourself, but you also need to be aware that this person across from you, or down the street from you, or next to you, has that same mindset. Good example. If you go to any grocery store or Walmart or any major shopping area, and there'll be a marked off place on the road that indicates that this is where pedestrians can cross. And all of my life, I've been taught that the pedestrian has the right of way. Why? Why does the pedestrian have the right of way? If I'm a pedestrian and I'm on a road surface, I'm going to assume that there's a car coming at some point, and I'm going to do what I was taught when I was a kid. Stop, look both directions, look back again at the direction that's coming closest to you, then cross the street. Because I may be told that I have the right of way, but that car is a whole lot bigger than me and a whole lot stronger than me and going to do damage to me and most likely kill me if I walk out in front of it. I don't want to assume that whoever is behind the wheel is paying attention, especially in today's world where you got a cell phone in one hand and a cup of coffee in the other hand, and you're driving with your knees and singing to the radio, and there's just too much going on in your life. I mean, every car now that stops at a red light immediately pulls the cell phone out and start checking what their texts are, or checking their email or Facebook or whatever it is else they're doing. It's crazy. But this whole notion that the pedestrian has the right of way is crazy. I mean, and it's contradictory to laws that exist. For example, jaywalking laws. Now, if you're under the age of 35, you may not have ever heard of a jaywalking law, but what it means is that it's illegal for you to cross the street unless you're in a marked zone. But if the pedestrian has the right of way and he crosses the street illegally, you still have to stop for him. I mean, you don't just run him over because he's not in his zone. I have to run him over. That's not the way it works either. My point is, we need to pay attention. When you're behind the wheel of a car, obviously you need to pay attention and look out for people. I'm not saying don't. What I'm saying is, if you're a pedestrian, don't just blindly walk out. I've seen so many people come out, traffic's coming this way from here, and they just walk out of the store looking down at whatever they have and just keep on moving. Don't even bother looking, don't bother slowing down. They just assume that me in my 2-ton vehicle is going to see them and stop in time. That takes an enormous amount of faith in your fellow human being. And I'm sorry, but I just don't have that much trust in people. I don't. Maybe that's a flaw on my part. I don't know. But when I walk out of a store, I stop and I look. And until they come to a stop and then gesture for me to cross in front of them, I stand there. Some of them get mad because I do that, because they've so accustomed to somebody just walking blindly out in front of them. I don't do that. I can't do that. I don't have that much faith in my fellow human being to do that. And I don't have enough faith in the mechanical well-being of whatever vehicle he's in to know that he can stop in time. That's a lot of faith. I have faith. I have faith in God. I don't have faith in people, and I don't have faith in mechanical things which fail. I'll give you a good example. A number of years ago, I had the opportunity to spend a couple of years on a tropical island. Happened to be Andros Island in the Bahamas. I was a contractor on a small Navy base there. It's a beautiful country. The people are amazing. I bought a vehicle. It was a 1985 Ford Bronco. It was more than a decade old at the time. I think it was about 12 or 13 years old. This was 2001, I believe, when I went over there. So this was an older truck. I had it shipped over, and according to the laws in the Bahamas, I had to have it inspected. Well, I took it to get inspected, and the inspection in the Bahamas was mind-blowing in what was involved. It was crazy. They, among other things, the man doing the inspection stood with his back against a little wall. Now, he was as close to this little wall as I am to this bookcase behind me. But the wall came up to about where his knees are, and that was it. So he told me, back up about 100 yards and then drive toward me and stop when I tell you. I'm thinking, okay, that's a lot of faith in the fact that the brakes on this old truck, which just got shipped across the ocean, are going to work. I bought it right before I put it on the boat. I wasn't 100% sure what kind of shape it was in myself. So I did what he said. I backed up and I drove towards him. And when I was less than an arm's reach away from him, he told me to stop. And I did. And praise the Lord, the brakes worked. 1 week later, the master cylinder went out of this truck, which means I came to a stop sign and I put the brake on and didn't even slow me down, kept on going. And I immediately thought of that guy that inspected the truck and gave the truck a clean bill of health. It's fine. It's good to go. Well, a week later, I lost the brakes altogether. And I ultimately got them fixed. But the point is, had that master cylinder failed a week earlier, I would have clipped him off at the knees and he went rolling down that hill without legs. Not something I'd want to have on my conscience, but it took a lot of faith on his part. And in my mind, not thinking very straight. Stand beside somebody, let him stop going this way, and then I can see what he's doing. That's what I would have done. No. Anyway, don't have the faith in the mechanical things that you do, that a lot of people do. You just blindly walk out in front of things. Not only is it rude, it's extremely rude. Especially when you don't even acknowledge someone. Someone who's walking out, head down, looking at their phone, right in front of you. And I'm sitting there like, really? You could at least just say, sorry I didn't see you. Or, hey, thanks for letting me out. Or whatever. Just acknowledge my existence. But we've become so self-centered that we don't. And that's very detrimental to society. In my humble opinion. I'm the hat guy, and that's my opinion. Have a great day.